All right, let's get to it. This is Eric Arnold here. It is Thursday, the 28th of October. Here to bring you the week whatever picks for this weekend. I don't know what week it is, 8, 9, something like that. We got 24 picks for you this weekend. Last weekend, bad weekend. 10 wins, 12 losses. Got to do something about these Thursday, Friday games. They're just killing us. I mean, I think we're like something stupidly ridiculous, like 0 for 9, 0 for 10. Last, one of these trends you see on covers.com or whatever. Eric Arnold is 0 and 10 in his last Thursday and Friday selections. Something stupid like that. I don't think that's really indicative of anything. I think that's just random variance. But it's definitely annoying, pissing me off. Saturdays were doing okay. We had 10 winners and 7 losers on Saturday. But that's 2 weeks in a row. These early games have just kicked our ass. So I don't know. But at any rate, we got 24 games this weekend. I'll say this about the card. I'm getting, more and more into a rhythm. I had some free time early in the week that I was able to get this done sooner rather than later, which I think is how you should do it if you're trying to make money at this. I got most of my picks done by, I think they were all done by, the time I went to bed on Tuesday. And then Wednesday was a complete wash of other stuff that I could not do any handicapping or work on that. Just, family stuff. Just couldn't do any work. I'm jamming this in here before I got to go do work at noon. So we're just jamming this in. But at any rate, where was I going with that? In the time that I concluded the picks, late night Tuesday, to now, around noontime Thursday, the number on 14 of these games has moved, and 11 of them moved the way I wanted it to. In other words, or moved against me, if you will. In other words, for example, Thursday night, Troy opened at 19, a 19-point underdog to Coastal Carolina. My little handicapping, my model, my intuition said Troy's a play. Well, Troy's now a 17-point underdog, not a 19-point underdog. When I wrote that down on my little sheet Tuesday night, it was 18.5, not 17. That tells me I'm right. That tells me that the sharps, for lack of a better word, I think that is the word, the sharps bet early in the week. And the books move the line accordingly. It's like, well, here comes some sharp money. And they like Troy, so we're going to shorten up the number on Troy, lessen our exposure there, because Troy's likely to win. The sharps think they're going to cover. They're probably going to cover. So the line moved 14 of the games, 11 of them moved to the team I was going to pick. In other words, if I played the games when I made the picks Tuesday night, I would have had the best of it in 11 of them, and in 3 of them I would have gotten the worst of it. Well, I think that's half the battle right there, is trying to get the best of it. Plus, if you're on a team that the other sharps are on early in the week, right there you're probably right. So I feel like we're probably right on at least, our record to date, as you can see in the slide, 66, 56. That's roughly 54%. Those are like Dave Parker numbers. They're not going to put you in the Hall of Fame for that, but you're a hell of a good baseball player and you made multiple All-Star games. How about that? We would like to get Hall of Fame numbers, but we've got to do a little better. But, right now what we're doing is okay. We're definitely a starting baseball player. We're going to be in the starting lineup every day. We don't have to worry about being substituted for because we can't play. We can get better though. We want to be a Hall of Fame handicapper, not just a pretty good handicapper. So 54%. I think we're going to do at least that this week. Just watching the line move in our direction on a number of these games, I'm thinking, I'm right on some of these. These other guys that know more than I do say the same thing I am. We're right on some of these games. So let's get to it. let's get to it. I got to get this video done so I can go do my other work. All right, so Thursday night, God almighty, you know, here's the good news. We only have 3 of these early games. You know, like I said, we're riding like some ridiculous losing streak early in the week, like 8, 9, 10 games. But we're going to keep going. We have Troy, and Coastal hasn't been good to us. Seems like when we zig with them, they zag. So we're going to play against them here. The numbers in these Troy Coastal games going back a few years are generally pretty close. I don't think there's that much of a gap in talent institutionally between the 2 programs. Coastal, believe it or not, as much as I would think, you know, they should really be kicking some ass with this just 2 back-to-back really good teams they've had. Nothing's really changed down there. I saw a game they had, I forget who it was against, they were at home. I think it was this year. And they were crowing about how they were going to have 17 to 20,000 people in the stands. Like, you're going to have 20,000 people and you guys are excited about that? I mean, you know, the major programs obviously, you know, draw 20,000 people to a tailgate. So I just didn't see that as all that exciting. You know, Appy State routinely draws that, no matter who they're playing. So I don't know Coastal is building that program. They certainly should be, but I don't know. It might not be happening for them. And this magical run of theirs is about over. I imagine the coach is going to leave. You know, he'll move to a bigger, better deal. The players are going to graduate. I don't know there's anything in the wings to back that up. All this is a way of saying I think Troy is not that far away from Coastal. And so I kind of think Troy's going to keep it close. We're getting 17. We were getting 19, but now you're getting 17. I still think that's close enough. We'll take Troy. South Florida, East Carolina. I don't know. Again, I can't remember the rationale for all these games. The model likes momentum, and it likes to determine who can control the line of scrimmage, who can run the ball, who can stop the run. So I think South Florida just ran all over Temple, if I recall. And I think that is what the model was focusing on, that it was seeing that those huge rushing yards that South Florida put on Temple, and are thinking they're going to do the same to East Carolina. You know, it's possible. We're catching, 10 here. So this is one where the line moved against me. So the sharps probably are saying East Carolina. I'm saying South Florida. But at any rate, you can't be with them on all of them. So we'll take South Florida. Tulsa Navy, again, I don't know. Navy just got crumpled up by Cincinnati. Maybe that beat them up a little bit. Cincinnati's clearly bigger and stronger than Navy is. So perhaps that just, you know, beat up Navy a little bit. Navy's simply not that good. This is just not your big brother's Navy team. This isn't that good of a team. And we're thinking that Tulsa's just going to, bigger, stronger, take care of business here, take Tulsa. All right, so those are the bad games. Those are the Thursday, Friday games that I haven't hit dick on this year. Now let's get to Saturday. That seems to be where we do our business. Buffalo, 13 over Bowling Green. Bowling Green had that magical game against Minnesota, and other than that, they've been pretty bad. So I think Buffalo, less than 2 touchdowns here. Yeah, I will go with Buffalo. I think what happens with these MAC teams as they get later in the year, they just don't have any depth. So, and this is a whole total hunch. I have no idea if this is true or not. I'm making this up. I think that early in the year, the games might be close as the frontline players are probably pretty close as far as talent goes, and they're slugging it out. So, you know, a good MAC team versus a bad MAC team, you know, that spread might, you know, at the end of the game might be 10, 14 points. But then as you get later in the year and people get hurt, the good MAC teams have a backup. The bad MAC teams don't. They don't have anybody. They don't have any depth. So then you got, you know, a half decent player going against some guy that shouldn't be on the field at all. Someone like me who's like a walk-on or something. It's like, I'll do the best I can. And then it's just, now instead of 10 and 14 points, the good team's winning by 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Total hunch. Have no idea if any of that's true or not. Anyway, we're getting towards the middle to the later part of the season. So now I think maybe these numbers start spreading out a little bit. So we'll take Buffalo there. This is a hunch. This is threw the model away. Just tossed the model. Tossed it. I think Michigan's going to beat Michigan State. I don't think Michigan State thinks they're very good. I don't think anybody's buying that program. I don't think anyone is saying, you know, this is Michigan State's year. We really think that this is the year that they go all the way. This is just a team I believe that's gotten lucky, that's beaten some teams that basically they're just that much better than, and they've gone ahead and beaten those teams that they're just that much better than. I mean, they struggled with Indiana. And Indiana is simply not that good. So I think Michigan has been much more impressive in their wins than Michigan State has. I don't know that they're going to have that much of a home field advantage up there. It just, you know, a noontime game, you're going to have a sleepy crowd that's just kind of sort of into it, but they're not going to be ravenously drunk and loud. Michigan, certainly familiar with their little brothers there down the road. You know, this is a little brother. You know, usually in a little brother game, you kind of want a little brother because he tries harder. But I don't know. This is one of those feel-like games where Michigan needs this game too. I mean, yeah, Michigan has a decent chance here to become relevant again. Which they've been dying for what now, 20 years? Since the Vest came to Columbus, since Jim Tressel came to Ohio State. Jim Tressel brought in 20 years of darkness up there at Ann Arbor. Not that I'm sorry about that. So these guys are desperate to be relevant, and I just think they're better than Michigan State. So I'm going to say Michigan goes ahead and takes care of business at Lansing. That's how we're going to play that. Indiana at Maryland. We definitely like Indiana here. Indiana coming off I don't think they're as bad as they showed last Saturday night against Ohio State. I think that was just one of those games where it got away from them early, and Ohio State playing well. Indiana didn't play well. Just throw it out. Indiana, I think, is better than Maryland. In the last few head-to-head matchups, Indiana's basically played those guys even, a little bit better than even. And here I'm catching 5 points. Yeah, oh yeah, we won Indiana. Miami impressed me last week. They beat North Carolina State. I've been thinking Miami's a dead team here, but, you know, they played North Carolina to the wire. They played Carolina State to the wire and won. So maybe there's more to this Miami team than I think. I think Pitt is just ripe for an upset. You know, that team's going way too well for Pitt. And this is, you know, this is the best Pitt team since Dan Marino, Hugh Green, yeah, whatever. Prove it to me, Pitt. You know, coming off the big win over Clemson. Let's see if you guys can do that again. Check the weather. The weather looks like it's going to be acceptable. Miami's not going to be playing in a snowstorm. I think we like Miami there. They definitely love this game. Central Florida always seems to have it over Temple. Temple has a good quarterback, and I don't think much of the coach. He just does not want to run the ball at all. He wants to throw the ball every down, and that's a recipe for failure in college football. I think that's what happened to him last week, is he wanted to throw the ball every down in South Florida, and he got killed. And Central Florida is a hell of a lot better than South Florida. So, you know, again, weather's going to be acceptable. I think Central Florida do what they always do, walk into Philadelphia and hammer Temple. So Central Florida there. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. This is kind of almost like a get out. Well, it is and it isn't. I looked this up. Who runs things at Georgia Tech? Who thought it was a good idea to give Jeff Collins a 7-year contract? Who did that? This guy's in year 3 of a 7-year deal. So I don't know. Do they look like they're getting any better to you? They weren't that bad when they fired the guy that was there forever. What was his name? Paul Johnson? Was that it? The guy that ran the wishbone. Well, they got rid of him some years ago. And I don't think they've gotten any better. I think they might have gotten worse. And, this guy's in year 3 of a 7-year deal. So they can't, hey, you got stability. You got that going for you. Whereas Virginia Tech, their coach, he needs a win. Because this guy is he's in trouble getting canned. So I think he's going to have his best game plan of the season coming up here on the road at Georgia Tech. I think he's been playing better competition. Georgia Tech, I don't know. We're just taking Virginia Tech here. Just think that their coach is just a little better than the Georgia Tech coach. We think they need to win a little more. Lafayette, Texas State. We keep doing this and we keep losing. We keep expecting Billy Napier to run a score up here for us so he can get himself a big job next year, and he keeps failing us. So we'll try again. We'll go back to it again. Again, we love this game. Illinois over Rutgers. Just like Maryland and Indiana. We think Illinois is just simply better than Rutgers. Better. I guess you could say, they're going to be all beat up after that 9 overtime game against Penn State. Well, it wasn't that bad. Remember, 9 overtimes, 6 of those or 7 of those were just 2-point conversions. They were just an extra play. It wasn't like a whole extra series of plays. So I don't know that was all that tiring. Plus, those guys didn't even need an airplane to go home after beating Penn State. They're so pumped up and sky high after beating Penn State. I think that's going to carry over. They know they're playing well there in Champaign. I don't know the same could be said for Rutgers. Plus, I think Illinois is just better than Rutgers. So, and they're giving us 1.5. I'll take Illinois. Cincinnati, we're doing okay with them this year. I think we've won more games on Cincinnati games that we lost. We were correct last week that Navy would hug them close and muck it up and keep it a narrow score. I think now maybe Cincinnati's looking after playing a conventional team that's a little more suited to what they like to do. I kind of think they might just whack Tulane and put up a big number just to remind the committee, we're still good. Don't think about dumping us out just because we had a game where the other team was within a touchdown. We're still one of the best 4 teams. Don't get it twisted, homie. I think that's what Cincinnati. If I was, I just drew a blank. Luke Fickell. That's what I would do. I would not, look, man, we need to put some numbers up. Let's not give these guys any excuse to screw us. We belong in that playoff. Let's make sure that the AP writers don't start sneaking us down, as these Big Ten teams start beating each other. Ohio State suddenly jumps us, even though they've got a loss. That's coming, Cincinnati. You know that, right? That is coming. That'll probably happen this week. But I'm just telling you. So we'll take Cincinnati. The world's biggest cocktail party. I've always wanted to go to this. And I don't really care one way or the other about either team. I just like cocktails, obviously. So I've always wanted to go to this game. Maybe if we can make some money gambling and have some discretionary income, we can go to it someday. But we like Georgia. I mean, why not? They're just rolling. I think it's more profitable to just play Georgia every week rather than try to catch that 1 week when they're going to be off. They're going to have a bad week where somebody's going to get to them and almost beat them. Cincinnati had it last week. Oklahoma had it last week. Penn State had it last week and lost. Alabama had it the other week against Texas A&M. So Georgia's going to have that game. But I don't know it's profitable trying to pick every week. Is this the week? No, they got hammered. Is this the week? No, we got hammered again. How about this week? No, we got hammered again. So I think we're just going to keep playing Georgia. And like I said, they're going to have a bad week, but I don't know it's going to be this week. Florida, I think a lot of people do think it's going to be this week because it's a rivalry and all this other stuff. I don't know. Georgia they look pretty damn good. They look like they're the best team in football. That's what they look like. So we'll take Georgia. We're going to fade Clemson again. We've had a lot of success fading Clemson. These guys are just, what is it with these guys? I don't know. They're losing to Pitt. They're failing to cover against Syracuse. Come on, man. I think Florida State's starting to catch a little bit of a wave. This just feels like, I would say you have a well-coached team that usually has NFL talent. That's Clemson. Then you get another team that I think has some NFL talent, and I don't know they're coached all that well in Clemson or Florida State. So I think the talent is going to keep this close. In other words, all those Florida State kids, now they're an underdog, but they're playing a team that's supposed to be much better than they are. So let's play hard. Let's play up to our capability. Let's really give these guys a game. So I think that Florida State has the talent to hang with Clemson, and I think that's what's going to happen. That this is going to be a close game. Clemson hasn't blown anybody out all year long, so we'll take Clemson or Florida State. Florida State, Kansas State, TCU. I do not think much of that TCU team. Just don't. I think we've had some decent success playing against them this year. I know we lost one where we were on them, where we had them against Cal. That was all the model there. The model said TCU, and I said, "You want me to lay double digits with TCU?" Okay, and it was a loss. Kansas State is an incredibly difficult place to play. They have a great home record there in Manhattan. If you didn't know that, ever since the advent of Bill Snyder, that team wins at home. Here you're only laying 3 points. Kansas State generally finds a way, especially at home. So I think this is a value pick. We definitely like that. Let's take Kansas. Northwestern's been bad all year. Bad all year. I think you got two coaches here. One is a good coach. One is not such a good coach. I don't think much of Fitzpatrick. The guy's been there forever. He got the coach job initially, I think, because his predecessor, did he die? Something happened suddenly to throw him into the job, and he was very young. So he's been there forever, even though the guy's really not that old. And I just don't know Northwestern. I just don't know if he's that good of a coach. His against the spread record, certainly nothing to write home about. I know that. His ATS record, nothing to write home about. Whereas on the other hand, Mr. Row the Boat, this guy just exceeds expectations. I mean, he has that terrible loss against Bowling Green. But then after that, now the guy is pretty much taking care of business. And here Minnesota is, even though they lost probably their best player in the Ohio State game to open the season, here they are looking like they're angling them for a bowl game, another bowl game. Row the boat. They're rowing that boat there. So we're going to take Minnesota here to come into Northwestern and have another good game. All right, I love this game. We just love this game. Oklahoma versus Texas Tech. I'm not bent out of shape about what Oklahoma did against Kansas. I don't think Oklahoma's defense is great. I do think that they took Kansas totally for granted. Who wouldn't? And Kansas, I think, is an improving team. What? That's just stupid. No, it's not stupid. I mean, look, Les Miles was not a very good coach. He wasn't that good of a coach when he was at LSU. Then you put him in there with a Kansas team. That's just, that's a recipe for failure. The dude that's in there now is a coach. That guy made Buffalo a power in the MAC. Who's Buffalo? Have you ever heard of Buffalo? 10 years ago, if I said Buffalo, you'd say, what? You mean the Bills? No, I mean the Bulls. There's a college in Buffalo. Well, he made them a good team. This guy knows what he's doing. He's one of these Division II guys, I guess. Won a whole bunch of shit in Division II. Then he ended up at Buffalo, won a bunch of stuff there. Now he's at Kansas, where coaches go to die. Sometimes. I mean, he's making that team better. Anyway, so I'm not that torn up about the Oklahoma near loss. That's the key phrase there. Near loss. Oklahoma got it done when they had to. That freshman quarterback they've got, have you ever seen a play like that where the quarterback steals the ball from his own player to save the game? I've never seen that before. That's an incredible play. You got a winning player like that at quarterback, and I'm laying less than 3 touchdowns? I'm I'm a top 5 team, the 3rd team, 4th team in the country, whatever the hell I am. And I'm laying less than 3 touchdowns at home against a team that just canned its coach? Are you kidding me? Give me Oklahoma. Gimme. Middle Tennessee State over Southern Mississippi. I don't have a clue. This is a model special. I know Southern Mississippi canned their coach early in the year. That's, to me, an automatic play against all year long. When a team cans its coach, I mean, it's just a recipe for total dysfunction for the whole year. Everybody's worried about their position. Okay, who's here has seen the movie Rudy? Yes, you've all seen it. I know you have. And the scene where Bebop comes bouncing up the steps. It's a victory! That's our cry! And he's all pumped up, and there Rudy's sitting there in his chair crying. And what's the matter? And here he shows the newspaper to Bebop that Ara Parseghian quit. He quit. And now why is Rudy upset? Because Ara promised him he would play. And he doesn't know what he's going to get out of this new coach. Well, that's how it is when a coach is fired or quits or resigns. All those promises that were made to these kids in the locker room when they were being recruited, whoop, they're all out the window. They're all out the window now. So 2/3, 3/4 of them, they're there going, oh, shit, that's the only reason I'm here is because this guy promised me X, Y, and Z. There's a handful there that are like, well, you didn't promise me shit. I might not have an opportunity now. But they're in the minority. Most of those kids in the locker room have been promised X, Y, and Z, and that's all out the window now. So now everybody's upset. Everybody's nervous. No one knows where they stand. Everybody's worried about their future. I don't know. Should I transfer? Where should I transfer to? I should be looking right now where I should go next year. Who needs a backup linebacker? Who is short on the depth chart at my position? So fired coach is always bad. So we'll take Middle Tennessee State there. Purdue, we're catching 7.5 at Nebraska. Nebraska just doesn't beat people. If they win by, 3, 7. They don't blow people out. I think Nebraska is just glacially moving in the right direction. I don't know they're going to get where they're going fast enough to suit those people out there, and they'll probably fire Frost before they get where they're going. But 7.5, that's too many. That's too many. We'll take Purdue. We're hope for a repeat of the Iowa game. We'll take Purdue. Georgia State, Georgia Southern. Again, this is one that the model throws me on to. I don't know much about either team. We won last week with Georgia State. That makes me feel a little warm and fuzzy about Georgia State. So we'll take them. I think Georgia Southern, again, they canned their coach. There you go. Others back to that again. Play against the coaches, the teams that just canned their coach. Mississippi, Auburn. I don't know. I mean, what I've seen of Ole Miss, they look more impressive to me than Auburn does. Auburn, they struggled with Penn State, lost. Mississippi, I thought that was a good win they had at Tennessee. They did okay against Alabama. I think they were overwhelmed a little bit. I just think that, let's put it this way. I know that Mississippi has an advantage at quarterback, and if that's all I know about a game, that might be just enough right there. So we'll take Mississippi. USC at Arizona. I don't think USC was as bad as they showed last week at South Bend. I think the team's better than that. Now they got a team coming in. It's just awful. Dead. Probably going to go winless. Arizona. This just feels like a get-right week for a USC where they just have an opportunity to get a nice blowout and get everybody feeling good. I know they canned their coach too, so I'm violating my principle right there. But we'll take USC. I think North Carolina State's down here after that 1-point loss at Miami. That shouldn't have happened. I mean, here you got this guy, the coach of North Carolina State. He's smoking his cigar on TikTok or whatever the fuck people use nowadays, gloating over his win over Clemson, which in retrospect hasn't aged that well because Clemson's not that good. But then he goes down to Miami in a game he should have won and he lost. So, I think that team's just a little sad right now. They should be sad. You should have won that game last week, North Carolina State. Louisville, one of these sneaky, not very good teams, but not very bad teams either. And we're going to say Louisville just does enough to kind of hug it close and make this a game. Now here's one where I just totally, the last but not least, the big game, the ABC game of the week or whatever at 7:30. The model loves the Buckeyes, loves them. We got Penn State coming off that horrible loss where they should have won. They didn't. They gave up 1,000,000 yards rushing to Illinois. Soft as tissue paper, the Penn State defense, my God, and just got run over. And now they're going to go play Ohio State, who's been beating people by 50 and 40 and 50 and 50. This is going to be a blowout, the model says. No, it didn't. I just threw it away. We're giving those guys 18.5 points? Those guys? Oh, Christ. These guys always give us trouble. This is the toughest team we play. And we, meaning Ohio State. If this is your first time here, I'm an Ohio State alum. I watch the Ohio State games. They always give us trouble. I mean, Jesus Christ. That is the toughest team we play on our schedule every year. It's not Michigan, that's for sure. It's always these guys. And, with Michigan State maybe in second. 18.5 points to Penn State? Oh, man. All those huge chunks of yards that Illinois is running up last week, that ain't going to be there Saturday. It just won't. We're not going to be able to run the ball on those guys. They're going to do enough to keep our passing game down. It's going to be a slugfest. It's not going to be... I'm not going to say what kind of game it's going to be, because as I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, we have had shootouts with these guys. I can think more so, especially up at their place on that grass field that they got, where we've gotten into slugfest, the 20-14 deals. At Columbus on our fast surface, we might, it might be a score fest. But that team's going to score with us. Whatever happens, it's going to be relatively close. That's what I'm thinking there. I feel pretty strongly about that. I'm throwing the model away. I just don't, the model can't see what I see. It doesn't feel that. This is a hunch play. Ohio State, I don't think is as good as we've shown over the past few weeks. We've been beating the shit out of some tomato cans. Here we're going to have a team that's good. Let's see if we've gotten better, because the last time we played a team that was good, they went all over us. Oregon just, they kicked our ass. And I think we're playing a team here that's as good as Oregon. I mean, one of the key factors is the health of Penn State's quarterback. The Penn State announcers last week were all over that. They were saying in overtime, well, if Clifford could run, this would all be different, and we'd have already won this game. But he can't run, so we're stuck here in a one-dimensional offense. So if that guy has gotten some range back, you know, and probably it's going to be, he hasn't. In 6 days, he's probably not going to be healthy. Well, I don't care. I still say Franklin's going to do enough to keep this game close, that he's not going to get blown out. This is another job-saving game here for Franklin. He needs to keep this close. They often, up there at Penn State, they have, so we have a large proliferation of this in the state of Pennsylvania. We got a lot of farms here, so we got to, you know, get the hay off the ground and get it into the wagon, and we use this pitchfork. And that is what these people that have graduated from Penn State are waiting to use on James Franklin if he gets blown out by Ohio State. And he knows this, so he is going to have a hell of a game plan worked up for the Ohio State Buckeyes. There you have it, 24 picks, that's what we got. Hey, hit the like button if you care to, that makes me feel good. If you're new, hey, go wild, subscribe. We're hoping to do some college basketball after, you know, college football winds down, which should be in the next several weeks, you know. December, you know, certainly when is college football over? December, basically. So, you know, come December, we're looking to be ramping up some college basketball at that point, and that's what we'll focus on, which will lead us into the spring when baseball starts again. That's kind of where we're seeing the channel going, our long-term planning. All right, I got to get going. This is went way too long, and I got to get on the move. Thanks for being here. Eric Arnold, signing off.